there, Clean Slate Project. What's up? Been a while, right? Been a couple years. So I totally paused this process and this message and this mission of the Clean Slate Project. And I wanted to come back on and say why, one, and give a little explanation of that and sort of rekindle it. So back when I launched this project, I had just gone through something very major, which I'll cover in another video. I had had some really serious personal stuff happen, and I was in this place of, wow, I have a clean slate, and I'm going to build a new life here, and I'm going to document it and show you guys what I did. And then COVID hit. And I found it seemed a little tone deaf at the time. I think that's the term, right? Tone deaf, to be focusing on building a life when everyone was losing so much. And suddenly all the stuff I was filming and documenting that I was doing was all shut down. Suddenly I couldn't do any of it except on Zoom. And if you know me at all, you know, I already had Zoom fatigue when COVID started. I had been working for myself and coaching and going to coaching. So everything I was doing was on Zoom. And I had I just wrapped a contract. I was COO of a cybersecurity firm. And from doing that, I realized I want to be back in an office and I want to be part of a team. And I'm sick of being on a screen, working remote. So suddenly COVID hit and everyone went home and was working on a screen. And I was like, this is so weird. This is exactly what I decided I didn't want to do. Plus, I had a lot of emotions and opinions about what was going on. And if there's one thing I've learned in life, it's that I'm usually wrong. And sometimes that can get people. People don't like when I say that. But there's a very specific reason I do say that. Because people's need to be right is destroying our society at this point. And I don't need to be a part of that. We're all so fixated on how we have it and that the way we have it is right. We are becoming almost intolerant to other ways of thinking and thought, which is what our country was founded on. We can have differences of opinion. And so I had such strong emotion about it, I really didn't want to speak on it. I can be a bit visible. And while I reserve the right to always change my mind on anything I post, and I will, I didn't want to say anything that was divisive or hurtful when people were in a place of fear, because I had such a different experience the year before. Of course, my reaction to COVID was going to be different. And I have enough experience myself to know that when emotion is high, cognition is low, right? Emotion high, cognition low. That applies to other people and applies for myself. And so I didn't want to say anything really during that time. So just pause. You can always pause. You can always come back. I used to come from this thought process where you had to set goals and accomplish all the time. And I got a lot done, but it wasn't the right stuff that I built because I wasn't building it from a place of happiness, from a place of being happy and then attracting a good life. I was like, I'm going to go build this stuff and then I'm going to be happy. And it never worked. It just sort of, because I went into it with a sense of lack and hoping that would fulfill me, that energy just continued. There was a sense of lack and hoping the next thing would fulfill me. I've come to a place now, I understand you must be happy before you start building anything. And there's no timeline. You don't need to force yourself. And it feels forced, stop. Because if you're in the right place, you'll attract all this awesome stuff. You don't even need to set a goal. It'll just happen. Not to say that goal setting isn't a useful tool. I've used it a lot, but I'm much more into the attraction, not promotion mindset. That's me. So anyway, for those reasons, I paused and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to live what I believe. And the day the order came down that we couldn't drive unless we were essential, I went and got a job somewhere essential. All the jobs I've been applying for in my old career, they all shut down. Apparel and footwear basically shut down with COVID. They took a huge hit. And so I went somewhere essential, and I didn't expect to go into a retail career, but so it goes, and started working somewhere essential. And I felt, you know, this way I can live my principles and live what I think is the right thing to do and be of service to others and make some cashola, you know? No one really needs compliance consulting right now. So I went ahead and did that. And what I learned was so key. I would sit there. And so I went there. I didn't plan to be there very long. I went to go work, and then suddenly they promoted me. They said, hey, we think you can make a career here. You're awesome. Come play with us. I said, all right, I'll give you a year and a half. So I proceeded to be a manager, and I had no idea that people ask for managers so much. It's a very strange thing to me. But when they're upset, people ask for managers, at least at this particular retail outlet. And I got yelled at a lot. And, you know, me with my strong opinions about what was going on, I started to get a different view. I started to see that both sides were really riled up, right? You kind of had the must quarantine, must wear a mask, we're all going to die. And you had the master and infringement on my rights. Everything should be open. COVID is very minuscule or doesn't exist, like somewhere in those realms, right? And both sides were extremely angry and aggro. And what I saw was everybody wanted to control everyone else rather than focusing on, hey, what works for me? Everyone wanted to control everyone. I should say what works for me balanced with what do other people need to feel safe. And I was very mask resistant in the beginning, for example. And then I saw how many people were really scared and it made them feel better. And I'm always going to choose what makes people feel safe and what makes them feel better. If people needed me to wear a mask to feel safe, I have no problem with that. Why do I care? You know, I like seeing people's faces, but I'm weird, you know? I have exceptional facial recognition. So, you know, of course I want to see people's faces. And I think that's important for community. But if it saves lives, like, what the hell? I am open to being wrong. But I do believe that my lack of fear over it did help protect me. I've been doing more and more study now about what I think really makes up sort of the fabric of our existence and how we really can create a life beyond our wildest dreams, regardless of the circumstances around us. And that's really where I want to create from now. I think I'm much better suited to do something like the Clean Slate project. I still really haven't built a social life, right? Things were shut down and I was really being a good old workaholic again. And I've come to a new place where now I'm going to build a life with my man. And he's amazing. And, you know, 5 years ago on Christmas, I packed up my life because the man I'd married didn't give a fudge about me, a flying fudge. I mean, it was really sad. And I thought if I left, he'd want to marry me again or love me again or remember, and he didn't ever even call. He got a new girlfriend. And so I left my home, I left my stepson, I left all my stuff, and I never came back. And that was devastating. And I'll save all of that for another video, so these don't get too long. My back history. But now 5 years later, I'm engaged to a man who very much loves me. The contrast of those two things helps me to know how much he loves me, right? Because I've married someone who didn't love me. And the contrast is so powerful. And I've realized over time that those experiences that are so hard for us help us develop and attract what it is we really want. So I've come a long way, and I think I have a lot more wisdom to share in my Clean Slate project. But I just wanted to quickly revisit and say, I haven't forgotten about it. It just seemed like a bad time, and I wanted to wait till everyone was sort of ready to rebuild. And some of that's happened, but I think this year is a little different. We've still been swirling with so much of this stuff that I think now people are getting ready to rebuild and say, who am I in this new world, right? New world, new me. Are you a new you? You might have come out of this with fears or concerns or more conspiracies or more confidence. Everybody's going to react to it differently. I personally have come out of it with, I think, a lot more understanding and a lot less fear, actually. But I got to be out around people the whole time. So I never had to actually be at home in quarantine, which I know was a huge challenge for people that did. So I'd like to just kind of start a new way and a new conversation in a new world with this project. So if you're still with me, we'll see what it looks like. And I'm excited to build this life with my new man. And I'm not going to be building it alone, but I've never really built a life with a guy before. We're going to be building it together, and I figure he's hilarious, much more hilarious than me. And I have this sort of spiritual mentalist component that I'll be throwing in, The dogs are all coming down. You guys are trying to shoot a video. Look at these cuties. What? Did you just go potty? What? Is somebody home? Huh? All right. Well, I guess that's the signal that it's time for me to wrap up this video, but I will be back again soon to keep talking into this. So I love you. You're awesome. If you happen to watch this, thank you. And I say, let's go on a journey of a clean slate together. I think everyone's got a clean slate in some way at this point. And it's a perfect time to start saying, what do we want to fill it with? We'll figure that out together. Bye.